Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the DeAgostini Collectibles Build the Volkswagen T1 Samba Camper Van. This is a fantastic build and I'm really enjoying this all along. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I've been working on this for the past 2 years. So I am working on pack number 24, getting close to the finish line here. So let's get started. DeAgostini is your discovery partner into a world of hobbies and interest. They create innovative collectible and build-up model series with engaging narratives on the most fascinating subjects. Explore an exclusive universe of collectibles from classic cars and motorsports to movies and video games. Scale models. Enjoy the experience of building step-by-step our exclusive scale model curated by our experts in design with an exceptional standard and accuracy of high level of details. DeAgostini's collectibles and scale models come with a magazine packed with extensive articles, behind-the-scenes material, little-known information, and rare images that will make you a master of the universe you love. DeAgostini as a brand choice, their expertise goes back decades, and they've earned people's trust around the world. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another DeAgostini Collectibles Build the Volkswagen T1 Samba Camper Van. Now, this is, of course, the iconic Volkswagen bus, the first generation bus from the 60s. I believe this represents a 1962 model of the bus. And it's been a fantastic build, and I've had a blast doing this. It's really an impressive piece to go on the shelf. So if you haven't done so already and you haven't checked out DeAgostini Collectibles, head over to their website for this build to see if it's available where you can subscribe to it for yourself, and you can watch all my videos that I made for this, follow along, and you won't have any problems building this. Now, we are on pack 24. This is second to the last pack, so I'm almost done with this, and it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, a lot of technical stuff going on with this. It's very much just like the real Volkswagen bus. The steering, the suspension, the interior, and such. So I'm very impressed with this. So I did receive 5 more issues or stages here, 113 through 117. Let's go ahead and look at the parts packs that came with this pack. Stage 113, the upper windows. Stage 114, the steering gearbox mechanism. Stage 115, the roof rack. Stage 116, once again, more parts for the roof rack. And stage 117, again, more parts for the roof rack. Let's get started. Let's look at the build instructions for 113. Once again, we have a listing of all the parts that are going on here. And if we turn the page here, it tells us about installing the upper windows. The left and right forward upper windows are keyed in a certain way, so that they only go in one way between the left side and right side. Along with the rest of the windows, they are keyed a certain way and certain size, so they only go in one way. Then we'll take the chassis, we'll turn it over, and we're going to install the interior on the chassis here. And that's going to get installed. That's fantastic. I've been waiting a long time for that. We're going to retrieve the wires that are on here. We're going to plug in all the wires that we need to plug in on the upper chassis and the body. And then we're going to start putting in our screws. Wow. And that's what it will look like when we're done. Let me get the parts and I will be right back. And here's the parts. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. We have BD04 and BP04 screws. We have the windows here, and like I was saying, 2 of the windows are different. We have the top one here, and it has a couple of notches on the bottom. That will go on the left side, left upper side. And you can see it has a curve to it. Very different. And then the other window goes on the right side, and it has a single notch right there. And that's for the right side. And then the others fit in where they may in the rest of the spots. So let's get rolling. Brought over the body for the bus, and here's our left forward window. And like I was saying, it has the two notches right here, which will correspond with those two notches there. And they just tell us to kind of bend it a little bit as you put it in, carefully. There we go. And that's how that looks there. Go ahead and do the other side. It has a single notch on the bottom, and there we go. That looks good there. And we'll put in the rest of the windows. And all the windows snapped in place on the left side. That's how that looks there. And all the windows snapped in on the right side. Now continuing on, I took the body and I turned it over on my bench. I put it on top of a soft towel, and I'm going to put the interior inside. We're going to flip this over, and we're going to line up everything here on the interior. And there we go. And we'll go ahead and put our screws in next. I'll start putting in the screws. We got to put in 2 BP04 screws in the back here on each side. And the BP04 screws are put in. Those are designed for plastic installation, both sides. Now we're going to put in the BD04 screws. We're going to put 6 in. 4 are going to go in the middle here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I tighten down the 4 BD04s. We got 2 more to put up front. And the last 2 BD04s went right here, 1 right there, and 1 right there. Next, I'll bring over the chassis, and we're going to hook the chassis up to the main body. We need to hook up all our wires. They tell us on the circuit board that wire number 1 needs to go into number 2, and then number 2 wire coming off the body goes into number 1 on the board. So 1 is right here and 2 is right there. So you're flip-flopping the 1 and 2 off the body. So the number 2 wire goes into the number 1 terminal, and the number 1 wire goes into number 2 terminal. And then we're going to plug in all the rest of our wires. 6, 7, and 8. We're also going to plug in wire number 4 on the circuit board. And the back side, same thing. We got the tail light wires that need to go in. Number 9 and number 10 tail light wires. I'm going to be doing that off camera. Go ahead and start plugging in these wires, and we're just going to match the numbers for the lights themselves. So wire number 8 gets plugged in with number 8 over here, matching the terminals. Next is number 7, and that's on the other side. It's the other headlight over there. Number 6 goes together here. Perfect. They all look good. Now this is the tricky part. Because I have to tip the body to do it. Wire number 1 goes into number 2 terminal as per the instructions. And number 2 wire goes into number 1 terminal. And number 4 wire goes into 4. And need to move it over to do that. And you won't see anything because this all has to be done meticulously. Okay, the body is down. Now I need to put the cloth down. I'm going to turn this over so we can put our screws in, but all the wires are hooked up. Okay, the chassis is mounted to the body now. Have it turned over on the back side here and made sure all my wires are out of the way and tucked where they need to be, and they are. They look great. So we're going to be putting in 8 screws. The BDO 4 screws. We're going to put 4 on each side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All 4 screws are in. We got one right here, one right there, one right here, and one right there. Same on the other side. And that's all I do with stage 113. Got the body mounted on the chassis. All the lights hooked up. Looks great. Let's head over and get started on stage 114. Let's get started on stage 114. This is the steering system, and these are all the parts we received. Installing some of the gears here, paying attention to how they go down and where they're positioned in place there. And proceeding on there, putting the cover on. They give us a warning not to mess with the steering with your hand because it could break some of the components. And it says the steering should work with the steering wheel just fine, so we will do that. There you go. Let me get the parts and I will be right back. Here's the parts for stage 114. Let's get a closer look. Here's all the parts. BDO 3, BD 10, and a BPO 4 screw. And received the cover for the battery compartment. Looks like the gas tank with a little opening for the on and off switch. And all the steering components here. Everything is metal except for this plate here. This plate is plastic, the cover plate. Gears. We have the large gear, medium-sized gear. That's how that looks. And the very small gear. All that for the steering. And the universal steering joint. And those are all 4 are made of metal. Alright, we'll start installing the gears. And the first gear to go in is this one right here. It's going to go in just like that. Okay, that gear is in now. And rotates just fine on there. we'll go ahead and line up our steering shaft gear. Alright, so make sure that your U-joint, the gear, is smashed down on it all the way. I used a little bit of Vaseline on that to help it along. And I marked the flat edge to line up with the steering wheel flat edge. This is going to go on the steering wheel shaft. I put some Vaseline in there also. That's good there. And next, I'm going to put my gear on, and that's going to mesh up with the other gear. I'm going to put a little grease on it, a little Vaseline on it also. There we go. That's down on that, and that's going to line up with that. Put some grease on it too. And that's good. Everything is greased there. And we'll line up our panel to the mounts. Everything looks good there. All the screws are installed on the mount bracket here. Everything's been lubed up with Vaseline. BD04 screws, those are those three, and a BD10 screw right there. Next thing we do is put the cover on all of this, and this is the cover here. It's actually going to cover our 3 AAA batteries, and I'm not going to put those in just yet, but that cover goes down on there. BD03 screws go into that. And there we go. That looks great. That completes stage 114. Let's head over and do stage 115. Stage 115, we're going to check out the electrical system. So we're going to put our batteries in. I should have put them in earlier. And we're going to start on the luggage rack. Here's the parts for the luggage rack. Put the batteries in, and we're going to go ahead and check out the headlights, the rear lights, the brake lights, and the engine noise. Start on the roof rack. And more than likely I'm going to do this off camera just to show you what it looks like when it's done. And that's what the roof rack will look like when we're done. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 115. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of the parts. These are the crossbars and the longitudinal bars. The longitudinal bars are supposed to simulate wood. And the crossbars, there's 2 types. We have one here with these ends on it. You can kind of see that. We have 2 of those actually, and then the center one does not have that. And then the longitudinal bars, we have 2 of them that have holes drilled through them, and one of them that does not. BP01 screws. Okay, go ahead and put the batteries in. 3 AAAs. Okay, turn it off. Put the cover back on. Put the screws back in. And we'll turn this over and give it a good look. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the light test now and make sure the engine noise and all that works. We'll go ahead and turn on the power on the front here. And there's our headlights. They look great. We'll go ahead and check the back. And tail lights work. And go ahead and check the horn. brake pedal. And we'll check the gas pedal. And the brake lights. Okay, everything seems to work fine. And there we go, the luggage rack is complete. Screw down all 4 corners of this. 3 screws here, 3 screws there. Flipped it over and press fit the last longitudinal bar across that. No screws go into it. There you go, that's how it looks. And that completes stage 115. Let's head over and do stage 116. And for stage 116, we're going to continue with the luggage rack. This is part 2 of that. We're going to install more of those longitudinal braces. And that's what that looks like there. Looks complicated, but it really isn't. And that's what it'll look like when we're done. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 116. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. BPO1 screws are included here. We have 4 of the number 2 longitudinal braces, and that's what this looks like. 4 of those. And we have 4 of the number 4 longitudinal braces, and that's what that looks like. And then we have 2 of the number 3 longitudinal braces, and that's what that looks like. Let's get started. Okay, I've completed installing the braces. It's really easy if you just follow the instructions and the numbering of these. And you can see that on the bar here itself, they're actually numbered on one side. So you can see here we got 2 number 2 braces going right there. Number 3 brace, which is only screwed down in the middle. It doesn't press fit in place like the others. Then we have 2 number 4s, another number 4, 2 more number 4s, once again a number 3 that's screwed down in the middle, and then 2 more number 2s. And that completes stage 116. Let's head over and get started on stage 117. And the final stage for pack 24, and that's stage 117. Going to go ahead and continue with the luggage rack here, part 3, and install the rails and reinforcements. Once again, it's going to be pretty easy to do. Longitudinal rails, cross rails. Again, little connections going on here, press fitting together the rails. And that's what it will look like when I'm done. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 117. Get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those rails. These are the side rails. Pretty cool. I like the finish on them. And the end rails. And some of the connectors. And there it is, all assembled. All the rails are installed. Everything press fit together. I did the sides first. Just pressed them down in place. And I did the end pieces, and they actually go through the two rails that were that had holes through them, and that turned out really good. And then I installed these braces here on the bottom on each side, so it's pretty easy, nothing difficult about that. Really looks nice, and it really looks the part. So that completes stage 117. So we have one more pack to go. I will be right back. And there you go. That completes pack 24. And we did a lot here. It's great to finally get the body mounted to the chassis. And we have the lights working, along with the luggage rack is pretty much completed here. I enjoyed this immensely. One more pack to go, and that'll be coming up here real shortly. So if you haven't done so already, head over to DeAgostini Collectibles. Check out all the kits that they have available, and if this is available, go ahead and subscribe to it. It was a lot of fun to build. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.